The first thing I saw was the knife. The second thing I saw was my dog on the ground. Blood soaked into the dirt beneath him, dark and spreading fast, right in front of the sign that had been there longer than any of them. Private property, no trespassing. And the man holding that knife, he was wearing a black vest that read HOA cop. Like those 3 letters gave him the right to stand on my land and decide who lived and who didn't. That was the moment everything changed. Before we go any further, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. Because to understand how an HOA thought it could trespass onto a working ranch and stab my dog, you need the backstory. I'm a rancher. Nothing flashy, no fake authority, no uniforms, just land, livestock, and a legally owned pistol I carry. Because when you live this far out, help doesn't arrive fast. My family has worked this land for generations, fenced, surveyed, recorded, every inch of it documented long before some clipboard-wielding HOA decided they owned the horizon. The problem started when development crept closer. Subdivisions, identical houses, perfect lawns, and an HOA president named Karen, who hated that my ranch didn't answer to her. She claimed my land over overlapped community interest zones, claimed my cattle were encroaching on HOA-managed green space, claimed my fences were non-compliant. None of it was true. I pulled county maps, deeds, livestock permits. I showed her everything. Calm, professional. She smiled and said, "We'll sort it out." What she meant was she'd take what she wanted. A week later, I noticed cattle missing. Not wandered off, not lost, taken. I reported it. Sheriff came out, documented tracks, tire marks, cut fencing. Karen showed up the next day with fake paperwork and a smug grin. The livestock were on HOA land, she said. We relocated them. Relocated. I warned her. I told her plainly, you are not an authority here. You step onto my land again, and it's trespassing. She laughed. 2 days later, the HOA truck came back, this time with muscle. The man in the vest cut my fence like it was nothing. Walked straight toward one of my hears, knife already in hand like he'd done this before. My dog moved first. He did exactly what he was trained to do. Barked, positioned, protected, and the HOA cop responded by driving the knife into him. That's when I ran. I drew my pistol as my boots hit the dirt, heart pounding, vision narrowing to the man standing over my dog with blood on his blade. He turned toward me, knife still raised, confidence still in his posture, like he thought I'd back down, like he thought a vest made him untouchable. He was wrong. And in that second, standing on my land next to my bleeding dog, staring at a man who crossed every line he could, I knew this wasn't about livestock anymore. This was about survival, and he had just made the worst decision of his life. I closed the distance fast, boots tearing up dirt as I came into full view. Pistol already up, but not shaking. Steady from years of carrying it for exactly this kind of isolation. Back away from my dog, I said. My voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. The HOA cop turned toward me, knife still slick in his hand, eyes flicking from the gun to my face like he was trying to decide which story to tell himself to feel powerful again. You can't point that at me, he snapped. I'm authority. That's illegal. I didn't answer him. I took one step closer, angling my body so he could see the dog clearly. My dog lying in the dirt, chest hitching, blood bubbling with each shallow breath. You're not authority, I said. You're trespassing. You stabbed my dog. Drop the knife. He shook his head, backing half a step, then stopping when his heel hit the fence post. Your animal attacked me, he said quickly. I defended myself. That's lawful. Defended himself from a dog that never crossed the fence. From a dog protecting livestock on private land. From a dog bleeding out at my feet. I looked down for half a second, just long enough to see my dog's eyes tracking me, tail twitching weakly like he was trying to reassure me. When I looked back up, the knife was still raised. Last warning, I said. Instead of dropping it, he puffed his chest and took a step forward, confident. Put the gun down, he barked. You don't want to do this. That was when he made his second mistake. He lunged at me like he thought he could break past me and disappear. The knife flashed as he moved, arm swinging wide. I fired twice. The sound cracked across the field like a whip. Birds exploded out of the trees. The HOA cop's body jerked hard, momentum dying mid-step as the shots hit him square in the torso. He dropped where he stood, knife clattering into the dirt, vest folding under him as he slammed onto his back. He didn't get up. For a moment, everything went quiet except my own breathing and the wet, uneven sound of my dog struggling to stay alive. I kept the gun trained on him, feet planted, heart hammering, watching for movement. Nothing. I lowered the pistol only after I kicked the knife far out of reach. Then I ran to my dog. I dropped to my knees, hands already shaking now, pressing hard where the blood was worst, whispering his name like he could hear me through the pain. "Stay with me," I said. "Stay with me, boy." I pulled my phone out with my free hand. 911, I said the second they answered. "I'm on my ranch, armed trespasser shot. He stabbed my dog. I need deputies and animal emergency now." I didn't wait for questions. I called the vet next. Emergency line. Voice breaking for the first time since it started. "I'm coming in," I said. "Please be ready." Sirens were already faint in the distance by the time I looked back at the man on the ground, still breathing barely. Dust settled over the pasture. Cattle watched from the fence line. Silent witnesses to a line that should never have been crossed. And as I held pressure on my dog's wounds, watching the road for flashing lights, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't going to stay a ranch problem. This was about to become a criminal case, a civil lawsuit, and a public reckoning for an HOA that thought it could act like a government. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe because the story is only going to get better. The deputies arrived fast, faster than I expected for a road most people don't even know exists. I was already on my knees when the first cruiser skidded to a stop, hands red, shirt soaked, where I'd been holding pressure on my dog. I placed my pistol on the ground before anyone told me to. Stepped back, palms open. I didn't want confusion. I wanted help. Commands echoed across the pasture. "Hands up. Step away from the suspect. Keep your hands where we can see them." They moved with purpose. One deputy secured the man on the ground, rolling him carefully, cuffing him despite the blood soaking through his vest. Another kicked the knife farther away and bagged it. A third knelt beside me and my dog, voice calm, asking questions I barely heard. EMS pulled in moments later. They worked on the HOA cop first. Protocol, liability, procedure. He was alive, conscious enough to groan, not conscious enough to talk his way out of anything. Then the vet truck screamed down the dirt road like a miracle. They loaded my dog onto a stretcher, oxygen mask fitted, for started right there in the field. I rode with them to the clinic, one hand never leaving his fur, whispering promises I didn't know if I could keep. He made it through surgery barely. The blade had missed his heart by less than an inch. Back at the ranch, the investigation unfolded without me. Dashcams, my security cameras, drone footage from a neighbor who liked to fly on weekends. Every angle told the same story. A marked fence, clear signage, an HOA operative cutting wire, a knife, a dog protecting livestock, a rancher warning, a lunge, 2 shots. By morning, the charges were filed. The fake HOA cop was charged with aggravated animal cruelty, armed trespassing, assault with a deadly weapon, and impersonating an authority figure. Hospital records confirmed he suffered 2 gunshot wounds to the torso, requiring emergency surgery and a 3-week hospital stay under armed guard. After release, he was transferred directly to county jail where he remained held without bail for 9 months due to the severity of the charges and overwhelming video evidence. He later accepted a plea deal, 19 years in state prison, mandatory psychological evaluation, restitution for veterinary costs, and a lifetime ban from working in any security or HOA-related role. Karen didn't fare any better. Phone records tied her directly to the operation, texts, emails, fake documents she'd circulated, instructions to retrieve livestock, and handle resistance. She was charged with conspiracy, theft of livestock, forgery, and criminal trespass. She got 7 years in prison. The HOA board tried to distance themselves. It didn't work. Civil court came next. I sued, not for revenge, for accountability, medical bills, vet bills, property damage, emotional distress, and loss of income during recovery. The HOA's insurance refused coverage due to criminal conduct. They settled out of pocket. The HOA dissolved 6 months later. Karen lost her house, her position, her reputation. My dog came home with scars and a limp, but alive, still loyal, still guarding the fence like nothing could ever happen again. The sign went back up where it's always been. Private property, no trespassing. Only now everyone understands it because some lines aren't suggestions. Some warnings aren't bluffs. And some people learn too late that fake authority doesn't protect you when you cross onto the wrong land. And that's how one HOA learned the hard way that ranchers don't need permission to defend what's theirs. The end.